Hello and welcome to the Paterno podcast. I'm your host, Michael Paterno, and I have my always lovely and beautiful wife and co-host with me,
Hello, hello, hello.
Mrs. Carrie. What's going
That's
on,
me.
love?
The weekend's already over.
Well, it's really Monday.
hmm Yeah, another week.
Yeah, yeah, another week done
What
in the
did you
books.
said you said a term to me today? What did you say? Schmonday?
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
Sunday
I've never heard that.
Sunday night feels like Monday, so it's like a schmonday, like you're blah, like you don't really want to do anything, like you're not super excited about going to work, you know,
I've never heard that term, so I thought it was funny.
Monday.
Schmonday.
So, um, guys, thank you for listening. Um, please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We're on TikTok, on X, Instagram. So we appreciate it if you guys follow. If you guys like the show and you feel that it gives you value and it makes you laugh and it's funny, please share the show with friends or family, or please share it on the socials or whoever. We appreciate that. So we don't have a sponsor. I mean, we teamed up with Alovéa, but it's not really like a sponsorship. I mean, it's like more like a partnership, I guess, in a sense. But we're gonna document our 90-day journeys of taking their product and see about the positive reactions at how our body handles it and the positive reactions that we have to taking Alovéa. So if you guys are interested in the products and you want to check it out, um, click the link at the bottom of the show notes and you'll save 10% on any purchase. So we appreciate that. So, um, Carrie just ordered the hormone supplement and the inflammation supplement, Limitless, and the
Yep.
hormone supplement is Balance. So we're waiting for that in the mail, and then she'll she'll start taking that, and she's working on some women hormone stuff right now. So she just
hmm
did a thyroid panel.
Yep.
How did you like that? You did that through Dr. Cabral.
Yeah, I did that through. I think his company's called Equilife through
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Cabral.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, it was easy. They sent you like it's a little blood spot kit, and
Shout out to Dr. Stephen Cabral.
yeah. And you just prick your finger and give them a blood sample on the little
Mm-hmm.
card and send it back. And so we'll see. We'll see. I've struggled with thyroid issues in the past. So I'm curious to
Mm-hmm.
see kind of where they are because I got them tested a year and a half ago, um, right before I gave birth. So we'll see now that I'm like fully a little over a year postpartum. We'll
Mm-hmm.
see where they are, kind of get a base. That way we have a base blood test for taking the supplements, and then after the supplements, we'll see in 90 days where those markers go. I'll do it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta do a blood panel too after the 90 days. I got my 1 month supply, but I got the whole stack. So I
hmm
got my 1 month supply stack on what's today, the 20th or
hmm
21st. I got mine last Saturday. So I got mine on the 14th or 15th. So I started taking it that Sunday morning.
hmm
So
And what's
I've already
included in the
been,
stack? There's balance.
it's balanced for hormones, male or
hmm
female. Um, and it's pretty much wild yam root and stuff, wild yam extract.
hmm
Uh, Limitless, which is
hmm
inflation's so high it's stuck in my head. Uh, Inflammation, which is made
uh-huh.
by, I can never say this name properly. How do you say it? Is it beta alanines?
hmm
Yeah. So red, was it red? I I think it's called red beta alanines, or is it just beta alanines?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I don't remember.
So the inflammation is made with beta alanines, and then there's vitality, which is superfoods like all your greens and stuff,
hmm
and then immune, which is good for it's all these products have ace mannan in them, which is extracted from aloe vera plants.
Hmm.
and the immune is the ace man, and so it helps improve your gut health, which a lot of your chronic illnesses and diseases and stuff come from poor gut microbiome. So this one helps you with your gut health, cleans up your gut health, and increases your immune system to build a stronger immune system. So,
Yeah, not even, I mean, gut health causes issues, not even even outside chronic illness. Even just things like, gas, bloating, constipation, um,
mhm,
any kind of like digestive issues starts with your gut
right.
health. Um, anything like also what'll lead to poor gut health will cause heartburn or acid
Hmm.
reflux. So a lot of, even like on a lower scale, not so much even chronic, but like the small things that people think like, oh, I just take Pepcid every day, or I just take, Tums every day, or whatever it is. It's like that's a problem with your gut microbiome. Also, gut issues can cause feminine hygiene issues. So if you
Hmm.
struggle with like yeast infections or like candida overgrowth or BV or anything like that, um, that can also be caused by poor gut health and your hormones. So,
Hmm.
um, disclaimer, we're not doctors. We just like to research
No,
things. So,
yeah, we're not doctors. We just like to research, and this is our own personal health journey. So obviously,
mhm,
it impacts everybody differently. Um, we're in a couple of groups with other people that take Alovéa, and they're way more knowledgeable than we are. And it's really, I've read some incredible stories that where it's really helped a lot of people that had severe chronic issues, and
mhm,
their traditional Western medicine doctor couldn't figure it out. They got on, strict meal plans, whether it was all meat or carnivore, whatever they decided to do for a dietary from a dietary place. But then they got
mhm.
on Aloe and they did it for 6 months, and their doctors couldn't detect any chronic illness that they had anymore.
And what's the, you've done more research on it than me, and you've talked to our friend Max, who's an ambassador for the product, who introduced it to us. Um, what episode was she on?
Episode 38, you can go look at that. Go listen to that food technology. It's not on YouTube, but it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And she really dives into it, um, talking about all the food technology and how it impacts people. And not to mention too, uh, for every dollar that you spend, they donate it to, um, they donate it, they donate servings to children in other countries.
Yeah, starving children.
Yeah, starving children in other countries. So every time you buy the product, so I spent whatever it was, a couple $100, right, on their
Hmm.
website, and it told me that I donated with my purchase. Um, they donated to, I think it served 150 kids of
Yeah.
Ace Mannon. So they're
And
really doing a lot of good stuff for the kids around the country, around the world. I'm sorry.
yeah, and I think the Ace Mannon, again, you've done more research on it than me, but the Ace Mannon, there's a component in it for stem cell turnover,
Yeah. So.
which is what's helping heal you.
Hmm. Yeah, because it
Correct.
increases the stem cells that your body makes. It increases up to 400 times,
Hmm.
almost doing like a stem cell push, but without the blood transfusion.
Right. No, it's good stuff.
Hmm.
Good stuff. Especially because so many people have chronic illnesses. Um, I mean, like 70% of the population has some sort of chronic illness,
Hmm.
um, that, is being treated artificially with prescription medication, and nobody's getting better. Everyone's just, um, I remember, I knew someone that had chronic illnesses, and the doctors always told them, endocrinologists and different doctors would tell this person, like, you're never going to be healed from this, but you can be in remission, but it's never going to go away.
Right.
Um, so supplements like this that you can take, if they're actually helping you with your stem cell turnover to heal you instead of just mask what's going on, like putting a band-aid on something that's going on. Um, that's powerful. And to have it be naturally derived from aloe vera, um, yeah, like you've read all the success stories, even people that have had cancer. That's wild,
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of reports of that. I don't know. I've never met those people.
right?
Um, but yeah, they've had chronic health issues and they were able to reverse it by taking large dosages, large dosages of Ace Mannin of these
Hmm.
products.
Yeah,
Unfortunately for the people that do have the chronic illness, they have to eat it. You know, they have to take that Ace Mannin like in high dosages for the
right.
first however long it takes to reverse it. So they're spending obviously a little bit more money. I mean, if you
Yeah,
do have some type of chronic illness, you're going to go to a traditional Western medicine doctor and spend, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. Or you can, if you have a chronic illness and you're trying to reverse it through clean eating and not eating ultra processed foods, and taking Ace Mannin products, you're going to have to take a lot more Ace Mannin. So a 30-day supply might only last you 10 or 15 days because you're going to
right.
have to take it in a higher dosage.
Right. But if you're investing in your health, um, you're going to eliminate, like you said, you're going to eliminate doctors' fees, you're going to eliminate prescriptions, you're going to eliminate the amount of time that you could be even like in a hospital. So, I mean, it's an investment in your health. It's just like eating healthy. Like it's more expensive to eat food with less ingredients in them. Like
Hmm.
it's more expensive to eat a healthy, clean eating diet, a diet, but it's worth it if you can do it.
Oh,
So if
I
you're
could see. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so if you're truly trying to invest in your health and get better, especially from a chronic illness that is not going to go away on its own,
Hmm.
um, there's health savings accounts where you can put money aside for things like that. So there's ways to do it if you're truly wanting to fix it.
Oh, that's something good. When you use your health savings account, did it work on Alovéa website?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. That's
Yep.
good to know. I could see where if somebody had a chronic health issue and they wanted to take this more holistic approach where they were spending, I could see somebody if they wanted to spend $200 or $300 a week. Because, like I said, if you're taking a 30-day supply of this, you're not taking it over 30 days. You're taking all these supplements in a 10-day period. So you're going to spend 200 or $300 every 10 days
Right.
to get this Ace Man in your system as fast as possible to eat away at whatever you have while you're eating, while you change
Hmm.
your diet. But I could see where somebody would rather take that route and spend $200 or $300 every 10 days versus going to a holistic or a traditional Western medicine doctor and spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars in a short period of time through insurance and missing work and doing all these other things.
Hmm. Yep.
So, so guys, if you're interested in checking that out, like I said, just go to the bottom of the show notes, click the link. It'll take you to their website. And if there's any products on there that you want to give a shot, you'll save 10% on all your purchases. So
Hmm.
there's no promo code or anything. You just use the link on our show notes.
Yeah, just use the
But
link and it automatically takes the 10% off at checkout.
mhm. So about last podcast, I did a horrible job. I was real shitty. I just had a real poor attitude, and
Hmm.
I wanted to talk about that. I did not do a good job. I did a whole TikTok about it, and I know you
Hmm.
probably knew my attitude was off, and I was like, man, I just didn't do a good job. I was like out of it. Like I had no like enthusiasm. Like I wasn't excited. It was so weird. And then
Yeah.
that went into Friday, and I got up at like 5:30 in the morning Friday. I did a workout. Um, I'm very excited. We just put a squat rack in our garage with a
Hmm.
barbell. So we're building a gym in our garage. So we're piecing it together with some free weights, and we got some bumper plates and hex bars and easy bars, and now we got a squat rack with a barbell, so we can do more, deadlifts, overhead shoulder press, your big compound barbell movements.
Hmm.
And I worked out and came home and I was just like annoyed, like I was super tired and I just did not like I and I love my wife so much she just gave me my space. Like she was, she's like, I don't know what's wrong with you, and I said I don't either, but I just need. And then I slept on it Friday night and I woke up Saturday and I was fine. I was just I don't know if I was tired or what the situation was, but I just was exhausted. I think just with a lot of work stuff,
Hmm.
I'm a director of sales for a logistics company, and you know, we're we build we're building this company over the last year and a half from nothing
Hmm.
and trying to build it up to something. And we hit almost $1 million, and we're trying to hit, um, we're on pace to try to hit 2 million next year. And it's just been, trying to build it and build it and build it and build it. And people don't realize like it's not, we're building this podcast and we're building this business and you're doing your stuff and we got kids and we have, we're doing a lot of stuff. We both work out at different times. Like we're both trying to be as healthy as possible. And I just, something just came over me. It just took a toll on me. I was just, I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, every so often you get like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have days where, I mean, like, and I'll tell you from the beginning, like, I am just not, today is not the day. Like,
Hmm.
so it took me a lot of years to be okay with that. Like, I used to think like, no bad days. Like, I couldn't have bad days. Like, I always tried to like mask having a
Hmm.
bad day, but like I have bad days sometimes where I just feel like really overwhelmed, especially with like kids and, being a mom, like a lot of times you get very overstimulated from your kids.
Hmm.
So, kids get overstimulated too, dads get overstimulated, but like as a mom, I feel like I probably like once even every few weeks, like I just get very overstimulated and I'm like, I have to leave. I have to be by myself. Like I just want to go for a drive. Like I need to just not hear kids. I don't want to be asked to do anything. I don't want to be touched. Like it's like I just need to like, and I'll just like drive to the mailbox, like in our
Hmm.
neighborhood. But it's like I just need to like I just want to
Get
put
out of
my
the
music
house.
on. Yeah, and just get out of the house.
Hmm.
And that's important. So I gave you your space because like I knew, when you're in a funk like that too, like you don't want somebody harping on you the whole time. I did tell you like I wanted you to acknowledge it because when you first woke up, like I knew something was wrong when you came back from the gym, like I just knew like your attitude, like your mood was like off. And I was like, "What's wrong with you?" And you were like, like, and it's like I know that you know that you're feeling like
Certain
irritable
way.
or yeah. And so I was just kind of like I think I was jabbing you a little bit, like just say you're in a bad mood. Like it's okay for you to be in a bad mood.
Hmm.
Um, and then you did, like you were working all day and I was working all day and um, but it's important to like be there for your spouse in that way. Um, and like, they say like love someone where they are in the moment. And like, there's days when I feel like that. There's days when, you are like that way less often than I am.
Hmm.
So, um, it's important. You do such a good job at giving me space and like making sure that I have my, you know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever I need, like when I'm feeling overstimulated or if I'm just not in a good mood, like you do a good job at like nurturing that for me. So even though it happens way less often for you, like I always joke with you and I tell you, like, you're not allowed to be in a bad mood
Hmm.
because like you just kind of set the tone for like, you're always positive, you're always happy, like you're always joking, you always make me laugh if I'm in a bad mood. So like when you're in a bad mood, selfishly sometimes I'm like, ugh, like
Hmm.
you don't get to be in a bad mood. Like,
Right.
so in a way for me, that was like, it was difficult because as much as I understand, like it's okay, like you're allowed to be in a bad mood too. But also I was just like, ugh, like can you just not be in a bad mood? Because like I need you to like whatever. So, but it was important for me to just kind of like give you that time so that you could just be, feel how you want to feel, feel
Hmm.
how you feel. And I think that's important to, like, we talk about communication all the time with your partner, with your spouse, and like that's part of it. Like, you have to be able to tell the other person like the bad parts too. Like, not
Yeah.
everything is happy all the time. Not everything is, you have days where you're just like, it's not that I'm unhappy like in life, but like today, like I'm just blah, you know?
Yeah. Well, too,
So,
when you're in a situation like us, when you're trying to build something special, not just
mhm,
for yourself, but for the betterment of other people, you know, building a logistics company is not easy. There's tons of logistics company out there. It's very hard. So, you know, had a shitty day on Friday, felt a certain type of way. It affected the way that I podcast. And that's not fair to the listeners to not give them everything that you um should be giving them and offering them, and they can hear it in your voice, even through the microphone. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And if you're off, that's not fair to them. That's not fair. And for me, being the husband and a man, it's not fair to my family. And so from Thursday night into Friday, then work all day, and then we left for Costco, and I was still had to
mhm.
work, right? I'm still emailing, people are texting me, got, trucks out on the road in different states. And even when we got back from Costco at 8, 9 o'clock at night, like I still had to go back to work because there was still stuff to do. And I could have left it till Saturday morning, but then that would have pushed me back, on Saturday. So I wanted to get it done Friday night because I didn't want to have to do anything on Saturday.
Right.
And yeah, so I just appreciate you so much for giving me that space when I felt a certain type of way and had a certain type of attitude or whatever, like a negative attitude. And yeah, it's just, it's not fair to the listeners. And you gotta, if you're gonna, do something, you got to do it with 100% of your ability and all your intent to bring somebody a good, strong product.
Yeah, but I also think it's important, like, for people that listen, like, to know that, this is just real life too. I mean,
Hmm.
that's gonna happen. And that's my job as your spouse to, carry the load. Like, just because you're a man and just because you're like the head of the family doesn't mean that you aren't going to have those times too. And like I said, they're way fewer and far between than like when I feel like that. So I think you're allowed that. And it's my job as your partner to step in when I need to. And that was just
Hmm.
one of those days. Like, like you do so much to help me, um, you know, with kids and stuff too, especially because, mom always seems to do, just more of like, I mean, it's just like kids always want their mom, dad's
Hmm.
fun and mom does like house stuff and food and all that stuff. So, and then dad's like fun, or and the disciplinarian, but like mom does like more like day to day things, I would say. So,
Hmm.
there's just going to be days when
Honey, don't piss
it's
off
a,
all the feminists.
oh, I don't care.
They're
I don't
gonna be
care.
like, "Oh my God, she does everything."
Oh my God. That's the thing though, is I don't do everything. Like, I think that we have a very balanced relationship. You help me. And I hate that expression when people say like, a relationship is 50-50 because I don't think that I truly don't believe that. I think a relationship is 100 and 100. And
Hmm.
some days I'm only going to give 80 and you will pick me up that 20. And there's days when you're only going to do 80 and I have to pick up the 20 for you. Like, so some days you're going to do 80 and I'm going to do 120. It's just like that's being a true partner, is having that person that will like pick you up when you're struggling. And
Right.
there's going to be days I think it's important to be real with the listeners too. Like, I understand what you're saying about, you feel bad that you didn't give like, your 100, but I also think that, that's just real life. And that's a vulnerability too that you have to show to people, and that helps people connect with you too, because it's like you're just like me. Like you by you saying this, like you don't know who you're helping, right? So
Yeah,
someone could
there's a
be
lot of
listening.
people that could be struggling with
Yeah,
those
and
same things.
yeah, and there could be relationships struggling and people who are listening to this saying like, oh, that's going to help me in my relationship. Maybe I need to give him his space when he's like that instead of nagging him. Or,
Hmm.
a husband could be listening to this and saying, like, I, need to help my wife pick her up when she's feeling
Hmm.
overstimulated. So, I think it's important to be raw too with the listeners. Like,
Well, that's
it's
what
just
this
normal.
podcast is, right? My editing skills are not good, so whatever we record, that's what we post. So
Right.
if if whatever we say, that's what you're going to get. However we feel that day, however
Hmm.
you feel, however I feel, however we feel, like that's what the listeners are going to get. So, but it's important to be passionate and be intent,
Hmm.
intentful, and you
Intentional.
know, intentional, and
Hmm.
give a good product to people, listening to this, and to know, like, hey, look, like we all, there's hundreds and thousands of people out there that feel, they give it their all every day, and then
Hmm.
it feels like a rock fell on them, and
Hmm.
they don't want to do anything. But it's important in those times. This is something I wanted to say too. It's important in those times that you keep pushing through, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Even though I didn't want to get up at 5:30 and do squats, or I still did it. Even though I got up at 5:30, did my squats, and went on a 2 mile walk, like I didn't want to do it, but I still did it because I know it's only going to help me become better. Um, even though work was frustrating and everything around me was frustrating, and I'm trying to, build and be a leader and help people grow, and I'm trying to grow, and we're trying to do good sales and build sales and do all these things, like, you know, I still have to show up.
Hmm.
I can't let my team down. I can't let my wife down. I can't let my kids down. I can't let my family down. Can't let the people around me down. So you still got to show up and you still got to do the work.
Right.
And, even when it's hardest, but that's on those days, those test days, that's what makes you
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
Is even though you're feeling a certain type of way, you still push through to, you know, even if you feel like you took 2 steps back, you still got to push through to take 1 step forward,
Hmm.
you know?
Yep. And that's important too. We're trying to instill that in our kids. Like, because kids think like when they have a bad day, it's like the world is coming to an end. Like it's very dramatic and they think that if they can't watch TV before they go to bed or they can't have dessert, right? Like they think it's the end of the world.
Right.
And it's important for you to like make your kids like feel that too,
Hmm.
because they have to learn those lessons when they're young, just on such a smaller scale. Um, you do a good job at facilitating that with our kids. Like let them struggle. It's okay.
Hmm.
And let them be upset. It's okay. Let them be upset. Let them be, frustrated about stuff. Like it's okay. That is character building. And it's the same thing with adults, just in a different, on a different level. But yeah, I mean, when times are hard, like there have been many times, like on this podcast, where I have not wanted to do it. And I have been, like, my attitude has been poor. Um, you just don't see it because it was before we were doing video. But there have been plenty of times when, I will moan and groan. Like I just, because I'm tired or, like you said, just from like stress and, we have full-time jobs aside from this and, we're trying to build this and be great at our jobs. So, I mean, yeah, it catches up to you. And I think you just have it, you just are, um, you experience that less often than I do. So it's easy for me to be understanding if you're having a bad day because I feel like I have my share.
Yeah. And too, like, for in your situation, like all the podcasts that you might not, all the podcasts that you may not have wanted to do in the past, it's a lot of this is new to do and new to you because when you're trying to build something from a business perspective, or a podcast perspective, you have to, most of the time, you have to do things when you don't want to do things. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You have to, I've had a business before in the past, and there was a lot of times where, um, this was back in 2018, I had my own truck. Most people who listen to this, they might not know I was a business owner in the past. I might have talked about it. I don't know. But I had my own truck. I was an owner operator for 2.5 years. And there was a ton of shit where you know, I didn't want to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning after I just got home at 8, 9 o'clock at night and I fell asleep for 4 hours. And then a customer calls and says, "Hey, can you be here at this time?" Like, legally, no, not on by logbook standards, I can't be there, but I was able to make it work and get there. And you're exhausted and you're tired, but you're trying to build something. So, when you're trying to build this podcast or trying to build a business or whatever, most of the time you have to do things that you don't want to do. And
Hmm.
but if you're trying to build something, you have to do it because you have to try to envision what the future looks like for this podcast, or just a regular business that you're starting, or any kind of business that we start together. There's always going to be some crap. It's always going to be hard. It's always going to be difficult. Nothing worth building is ever easy.
Hmm. Well,
And
that's
you
the
have
same
to,
thing. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Well, that's the same thing, like, when you have kids, like when you have babies. I mean, babies are hard work in the beginning, and you're tired all the time because you're not sleeping, and you have broken sleep, and you know, you have pockets of sleep, and but you still have to do your dishes, you still have to clean your house, you still have to take care of your other kids if you have other kids. You can't just sleep all day, but but eventually that will pass, like that phase will
Hmm.
pass, and um, on to the next challenge. Like every season of raising kids is difficult in some way, but it is like you said, if you persevere through those hard times at work, like you're going to reap the reward. It's the same thing with your kids. If you're raising kids, um, the older your kids get, the challenges change, but you're reaping that reward. You're seeing this like little human that you have cultivated,
Hmm.
um, and they're growing into the person, that you're molding them to be. So that's the reward. Um, so if you're looking at things with that perspective, like if you persevere, um, you will reap the reward at the end. And that's with anything. That's with jobs. That's with family. That's with, your health. That's with your, any kind of journey that you're on in your life, your spiritual journey, right? It's like being consistent, like persevere through the hard times to reap the reward at the end.
Right. Yeah, no, that's good. A lot of people, we know a ton of people that have kids and built really successful businesses, even
Oh,
young
yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And it was never easy for them. It's hard.
Hmm.
And you wish sometimes you can do more, than just,
Right.
um, we know a ton of people that have no kids and they have really successful businesses. And we
Hmm.
know kids with kids that have really successful businesses. And the path is both the same, you
Hmm.
know. So you just got to keep pushing. And those test days are what makes you great.
Yep.
On the days that you don't want to do anything, but you still end up doing it, those are the days that help you prepare for when you do become successful.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's good. But yeah, what was the saying? Meet your spouse where they are,
Yeah.
or
Or just anyone.
love your spouse where they are.
Yeah. Love them where they are. Um, and that could be with
Can-
anything. I mean, in our relationship, like we're going to go through, and every relationship, every couple will go through, whether it be a couple, it could be, a child and parent, it could be you and your child at some point when your kids are older. There's going to be times in your life where you may not agree with or be on the same page as that other person that you have that relationship with. It could be a friend, it could be a parent, it could be your child, it could be your spouse. It could be a coworker. Like you may not be on the same page, but you have to meet them where they are. And with your spouse or your child or your family, love them where they are. Um, like I struggle with certain relationships with people in my family. And I think that was one of the most powerful things that I learned through, just strengthening my relationship with God was like,
Hmm.
you have to love people where they are. Like, I cannot force certain family members to be on the same page as me. All I can do is pray and hope that they see my heart and like feel, acknowledge my feelings about what's going on. But I have to do the same thing in return too, even if I don't agree with it. Like I have to love them where they are too. I may not agree with it. It may hurt me. Um, and all I can do is pray that we will be on the same page again at some point in the future. But sometimes you have to just love people where they are. And, these people that I struggle with, like they're good people and, I love
Hmm.
them. They're my family. Um, and it's not even, it's not 100% anything that they've done. I'm sure I've done things too that have contributed to cracks in our relationships, but,
Hmm.
um, you know, they have to, it's a reciprocation. Like when you love someone where they are, in turn, they should love you where you are as well. Um, you and I have that relationship where, like I said, if I struggle, you love me through that. If you're going to struggle, I'm still going to love you through that.
Hmm.
There's mutual respect there. So, loving people where they are, um, or if it's not family or a relationship, if it's a friend or wherever, if you just meet someone where they are, um, that's just mutual respect in a relationship. So it's important. It's important. It's important to have the conversation about it too, because if you're feeling like your spouse isn't meeting you where you are or loving you through the hard times, like the hard times are going to feel that much harder. And I refuse to be in a relationship like that.
Yeah.
I am the way that I make you feel is only going to be what's best for our family. Like I will always talk to you about what's going on, how I feel about things and vice versa. So that to me is the healthiest part of our relationship is our communication.
I was just going to say communication helps all of this. If you know how to
Yep.
communicate and you talk and you can be vulnerable and, you know, you can even reason with yourself, like,
Mm-hmm.
no, like, a lot of people have to be able to do what I've done. Like, say, hey, I wasn't my best. Like, hey, I sucked. Like, hey, I was
Mm-hmm.
not good. Like, I was, you know, uh, I wasn't enthusiastic or I was, however I felt that those 2 days or day and a half, like there's a lot of people that will never come out and say, hey, this is how I feel. And you got to tell your spouse, like, I'm feeling this certain type of way. Whatever the situation is, you have to be open. You have to have an open line of communication and just say what's on your heart.
Right. And I want to make a distinction because I am a person who, we've talked about this on the podcast, like I am a person who doesn't like conflict and doesn't like, um, you know, confrontation. So for me, I want to distinguish to the listeners, like when I say love someone where they are, like for me, different difficulties with my family. Like I love them where they are, but also if you're convicted, like if you have conviction about how you feel, um, loving someone where they are doesn't mean that you ignore your conviction. Like I know my feelings on the situation that's going on with certain people in my life, and I'm not going to back down from my conviction, but I can still love them where they are, even though they don't agree with me. So it's the
Hmm.
same thing with your spouse. Like, I may have been in a funk on Friday or whatever day it was when you were in your bad mood. Like, in my head, selfishly, I was like,
Hmm.
ugh, like, I don't want you to be in a bad mood. But, like, you know, I, even though, like, I didn't want to deal with that necessarily with you,
Hmm.
like, you still had to have conviction in yourself and say like I'm sorry but like this is just how I feel. And if you are in the communication, in the good communication with your spouse or with your family member or whoever you're having this conflict with, like loving someone where they are or meeting someone where they are does not mean that you don't acknowledge your own feelings either. Like you could have very easily have said, "Oh, I don't want her to have to deal with this with me, so I'm just going to brush it under the rug." But no, you need to feel your feelings.
Hmm.
So if you are convicted about something and the way you're feeling about something, um, acknowledge those feelings, and loving someone where they are doesn't mean you ignore them. And I didn't
Yeah.
know the difference for a long time. So for a long time, I thought like loving someone where they are meant that I couldn't be where I am. And that's inaccurate. And that's
Right.
not healthy for you either. So if you struggle with communication with people in your life that you have disagreements or conflict with, like know how you like acknowledge your feelings. And if you feel a certain way, um, and you respect that other person, then have the mutual respect to say, I understand where you're coming from, but that's not going to change how I feel. And the other
Right.
person, if they have mutual respect, they should be able to say, you know, I like that I'm glad that you're acknowledging how you feel, and just agree to disagree. There's a reason why agree to disagree is a term.
Right. No, it's good. Got anything else?
No, I don't think so. I'm glad you're in a better mood.
Yeah. No, I feel better. I got some sleep.
Yeah.
Had a couple of good workouts. Spent time
Yep.
with the family.
Got some
No, it's
sun.
good. Got some sun. Yeah.
Hmm.
Guys, we appreciate you guys listening. If you like the show, please share the show. Please share it on your social medias. Shout us out. Tag
Yep.
us. And please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we really appreciate it, guys.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for listening to the Paterno podcast. We appreciate you, and you guys have a blessed day.
Thanks, guys. Bye.